I'm Sergeant Elena Morgan. I don't wear lipstick to work. I don't wear high heels. I wear a badge that can shut down satellite networks and a clearance level most people don't even know exists. When my boots hit the floor of Command Sector 7, people stop talking. Not because I'm loud and not because I have stars on my collar, but because in the world of cyber warfare, knowledge is rank, and I know everything. This story starts deep underground, inside a classified operations hub where the air hums with static and decisions tilt the balance of global power. I was reviewing an intercept sequence, cool and steady, surrounded by analysts who looked to me for answers. But even in that moment, standing at the nerve center of national defense, I knew there was someone out there who still thought I was nothing but his little girl who fixed computers. My father, retired Master Sergeant Dale Morgan, used to say, "Real soldiers eat dirt and yell louder than on the battlefield." According to him, my job was button-pushing nonsense. He believed leadership came with volume, and discipline meant calling your daughter out in front of strangers like she was a rookie filing clerk, not a strategic asset. That day, he walked into my world expecting a tour of a glorified call center. What he got was something else entirely. It was Family Day on base, a rare event where the curtains are pulled back just an inch, allowing civilians to see where their tax dollars go. It meant name tags, cold coffee, and 1,000 awkward reunions. The place buzzed with strollers, photo ops, and retired veterans reliving the glory days like they'd never ended. That morning, I was already 3 hours into my shift, barely keeping pace with the chaos of a live cyber drill, when I got a ping from front gate security. "Your father's here, Sergeant." I signed out of my terminal, locked my CAC card in the safe, and went upstairs to the surface. When I met him outside the visitor center, he looked like he owned the place. Master Sergeant Dale Morgan, U.S. Army, retired. He wore his old fatigues like armor and his airborne cap like a crown. He greeted the young soldiers at the gate like he was still in command, slapping backs, barking jokes, and giving unsolicited advice on rifle grip and foot posture. They humored him, of course. Most young recruits do when a loud old vet shows up speaking in war movie quotes. He loved the attention, fed off it. "There she is," he boomed when he saw me. "The family geek squad." He hugged me hard. He smelled of Old Spice and peppermint. "Hi, Dad," I said. "Look at you," he said, stepping back. "Uniform looks clean. Are you sure you do any work on this thing? My boots were never that shiny unless I was in a parade." "It's a different kind of work, Dad?" He scoffed. "Yeah, air conditioning and mouse clicks. I was telling these boys at the gate about the time I rucked 40 miles with a broken ankle. That's work, Elena. That's soldiering." I didn't correct him. I just smiled, nodded, and kept walking. He didn't ask about my current assignment. Never had. He called me his tech support, usually in front of people. Said I did some HR stuff for the government. It wasn't cruel, exactly. Just casual dismissal, like my career was a nice little hobby until I found a husband. Once, he told a neighbor I was probably really good at fixing office printers, because that's what she does for the Army. We walked toward the main admin hall. He pointed out random buildings, guessing at their function like he was narrating a battlefield tour. "That's probably the mess hall," he said, pointing at the drone control center. "And that's the barracks," he said, pointing at the intelligence armory. I let him talk. At the security checkpoint, he refused to remove his belt, grumbling about how real soldiers used to walk through with a sidearm and a combat knife. The guards were polite, but firm. I flashed my credentials, a different badge than the standard issue. It had a red stripe across the top. The guard at the scanner paused. He looked at the badge, then at me. His posture straightened immediately. "Go right ahead, Sergeant," the guard said, waving us through without making me empty my pockets. My dad winked at the guard. "She's with me, son. Don't worry." He thought his retired ID got us through. He didn't notice the guard's eyes lingering on my badge with a mix of curiosity and fear. When we reached the central courtyard, he pulled me aside and asked where the real action happened. "I want to see the tanks, Elena, the artillery. Where do they keep the heavy iron?" "We don't have tanks at this facility, Dad," I said. "This is a cyber command outpost. It's all data centers and satellite uplinks." He snorted. "Figures. A base with no guns. What happens if the enemy shows up? You gonna throw a keyboard at them?" "We stop them before they even know they've arrived," I said quietly. He didn't hear me. He had spotted a group of Marines stationed near the restricted wing. They were standing at ease, their faces young but already seasoned. They looked like the kind of men my father respected. He lit up like a parade float and strode right over, chest forward, voice already booming. We were halfway through the courtyard when it happened. "Now these are real warfighters," my father announced, loud enough to turn heads in the next hallway. He walked right up to the Marines. "Semper Fi, boys. Army Airborne coming through." The Marines looked at him, polite but wary. "Good morning, Sergeant," one of them said. My dad beamed. Then he gestured to me with a thumb. "This is my daughter, Elena. She's in the Army too, technically." He chuckled, clearly pleased with his joke. "She's more of a laptop girl. Works some IT desk job. Keeps the coffee flowing and the printers jammed, right?" I felt my spine lock up, but I didn't flinch. I'd heard this routine before. It always got laughs at backyard barbecues. He didn't mean it to hurt. That was the worst part. It wasn't cruelty. It was how he showed affection. Like nicknaming a pit bull Fluffy. The Marines didn't laugh. One of them, a gunnery sergeant with sharp eyes and sleeves rolled up to reveal tattooed forearms, glanced at me. He looked at my name tape. Then he looked at the patch on my shoulder. It wasn't a standard unit patch. It was the Cyber Protection Brigade insignia with a specific special access rocker tab above it. The gunny's jaw twitched. I saw the flicker of recognition. He knew what that tab meant. It meant I wasn't fixing printers. It meant I was hunting state-sponsored hackers on the dark web. His gaze tightened, shoulders straightened. He nudged the Marine next to him. The gunny looked me in the eye. He didn't smile. He nodded. A slow, respectful nod reserved for someone who walks the same dark paths. "Sergeant," the gunny said to me. His tone was different than the one he used with my father. It was the tone of a peer addressing a professional. I caught his eye. I gave a microshake of my head. "Don't make a scene." My father didn't notice. He kept going, practically reenacting old field missions for the confused Marines. This one time, back in '88, we were jumping into Panama. He clapped a hand on my shoulder and gave me a little shake, like he was trying to remind everyone that I was his property. "She's a good kid," he said. "Bright. Just never wanted to get her hands dirty. Stayed in air conditioning. Soft job. But hey, someone has to answer the phones, right?" The slap of his palm on my shoulder burned. Like years of wargaming, encrypted intercepts, and midnight calls meant nothing. The fact that I had personally stopped a ransomware attack on the Walter Reed Hospital network last month was just answering phones. The gunny's eyes met mine again. Not just recognition now. Pity. Not for me. For the man speaking. For the fact that he had no idea he was standing next to a weapon he couldn't comprehend. "Sir," the gunny said to my father, cutting him off mid-sentence. "With respect, your daughter isn't IT." My dad blinked. "Excuse me?" That patch, the gunny said, nodding at my shoulder. That's cyber warfare. Defensive countermeasures. That's the tip of the spear, sir. Just a different kind of spear. My dad looked at my shoulder. He looked at the patch. He frowned. It's a computer patch, Dad grumbled. It means she knows Windows. He laughed again, but it was weaker this time. Come on, Elena, he said, turning away. Let's go find the gift shop. I need a hat. I stood there for a second. I looked at the gunny. Thanks, I whispered. He nodded. Watch your six, Sergeant. I followed my father. He was still muttering about how the Marines were getting soft. He didn't want to hear it. He didn't want to know. Because if I were a warrior, then his monopoly on toughness was over. We reached the lobby of the Joint Operations Center, JOC. This was the heart of the base, a massive atrium with glass walls looking into the secure server farms. My dad was bored. He was looking for a vending machine. So, he said, fishing for change in his pocket, when do we go to lunch? I'm starving. I checked my watch. I have a shift change in 20 minutes, Dad. I can take a break then. Shift change, he mocked. Like a factory worker. In the infantry, we didn't have shifts. We had missions. Suddenly, the lights in the atrium flickered. It wasn't a power outage. It was a pulse. The electronic locks on the doors clicked loudly. The screens on the wall, the ones displaying public news feeds, scrambled into static. Then, the siren started. It wasn't a fire alarm. It was a low, oscillating hum that vibrated in your teeth. Condition red. My phone, my secure duty phone, exploded with alerts in my pocket. My dad looked around, confused. What is that? Drill? I pulled out my phone. I saw the code. 0-day exploit, perimeter breach, network lockdown. Someone was hitting us. Hard. Dad, I said, my voice changing, stay here. Do not move. What? Why? Just stay here. I turned toward the secure doors leading to the command floor. They were sealed. Red lights were flashing above them. A crowd of officers, majors, colonels, were gathering by the doors, swiping their badges frantically. The readers were rejecting them. System is down, a colonel was shouting. Biometrics are offline. We're locked out of the war room. Chaos. If we were locked out, we couldn't stop the attack. The enemy was inside the firewall, and we were stuck in the lobby. I ran toward the door. My dad followed me. Elena, get back here. That's for officers. I ignored him. I pushed through the crowd of panicked staff. Make a hole, I shouted. A colonel turned to yell at me, but he saw my face. He saw the focus. I reached the keypad. The standard readers were dead. But there was a manual override panel, an old analog failsafe hidden behind a maintenance plate. I pulled a multi-tool from my pocket, the one my dad said I carried to open boxes. I unscrewed the plate in 3 seconds. What are you doing? The colonel demanded. That's tamper-proof hardware. I'm bypassing the digital handshake, I said, my fingers flying over the exposed wires. The attack is targeting the logic controllers. If we don't kill the port manually, they'll brick the main server in 30 seconds. Who authorized you to... Then, the inner door smashed open from the inside. A man stumbled out. It was General Vance, the base commander. He looked frantic. I need a key, the general shouted. The system is eating itself. Who has the master encryption key? The colonels looked at each other. They were strategists, leaders, and managers. They didn't hold the keys. My dad watched, mouth open. He saw a general panicking. He saw colonels' helplessness. I stepped forward. General, I yelled. General Vance turned. He looked at me. He looked at the sergeant stripes on my chest. He didn't dismiss me. He didn't ask where my coffee was. His eyes locked onto mine with desperate hope. Sergeant Morgan, he asked. I have the ghost key, sir, I said. It's on my personal drive. The general rushed toward me. He grabbed my shoulders. Can you execute a hard reset from the external node? Yes, sir, I said. But I need you to authorize the power dump. It will kill the lights for the whole sector. Do it, the general ordered. Burn it down if you have to. Just stop the data bleed. I turned to the maintenance panel. I plugged my secure drive into the diagnostic port. Cover your eyes, I shouted in the lobby. Flash discharge. I typed a sequence of code blind, feeling the keys. Execute. A massive crack echoed through the building as the breakers tripped manually. Sparks flew from the panel. The entire building went pitch black. The siren died. The hum of the servers died. Silence. My dad gasped in the darkness. Then, the emergency red lights kicked on, bathing the lobby in a crimson glow. The screens on the wall rebooted. The static was gone. The U.S. Cyber Command seal appeared, spinning slowly. System secure. I pulled my drive out. I took a breath. Target neutralized, I said. The general slumped against the wall, wiping sweat from his forehead. Jesus, he whispered. That was close. He looked at me. He straightened up. Sergeant Morgan, the general said. I snapped to attention. Sir. You just saved the eastern grid, the general said. If that worm had gotten through, it didn't, sir, I said. The general looked around the room at the stunned officers. Then he looked at my father, who was standing by the vending machine, looking like he'd just seen a magic trick. Who is this? The general asked, nodding at my dad. My father, sir. Master Sergeant Dale Morgan, retired. The general walked over to my dad. My dad instinctively stood at attention, saluting. General, my dad stammered. The general returned the salute casually. At ease, Sergeant. The general looked back at me, then at my dad. You raised a hell of a soldier, Dad, the general said. My dad blinked. She works in IT, sir. She fixes printers. The general laughed. It was a harsh, incredulous laugh. Printers? The general shook his head. Sergeant Morgan is the lead cryptologic engineer for this sector. She is the only person on this base with the code-level authority to override my command during a cyber event. The general leaned in. When the screens go black, she outranks me. Getting it? She doesn't fix printers. She protects the nuclear launch codes. My dad looked at me. He looked at the girl in the clean uniform. He saw the soot on my hands from the sparked wires. He saw the way the colonels were looking at me, not with condescension, but with relief. He realized that the war had changed, and he realized that while he had been bragging about carrying a rifle, I had been carrying the weight of the entire network. The general turned back to me. Come with me to the war room, Sergeant. We need to run a diagnostic. Yes, sir. I looked at my dad. I have to go to work, Dad, I said. Real work. He didn't say anything. He just nodded, slowly, respectfully. I spent the next 6 hours in the SIF, scrubbing code and patching the breach. When I finally walked out, the sun was setting. I found my dad waiting in the parking lot, leaning against his truck. I walked up to him. I was tired. I smelled like ozone and burnt plastic. Hey, I said. He looked at me. He looked at my hands. I didn't know, he said quietly. You never asked, I replied. He kicked at the gravel. The general? He said you outranked him. In a crisis, yes. It's technical authority. And the sparks? The wires? Kinetic countermeasure, I said. Sometimes you have to break the machine to save it. He nodded. He looked at his own hands, calloused and scarred from years of mechanics and infantry work. I always thought, he started, then stopped. I thought you took the easy way out. The safe way. There is no safe way anymore, Dad, I said. The front line is everywhere. It's in the walls. It's in the phones. He looked me in the eye. You're good at it, he said. I am. Better than me, he admitted. It sounded like it hurt him to say it, but he said it. He reached into his pocket. He pulled out his old challenge coin. The one from his unit. The one he carried everywhere. He held it out to me. I think you earned this, he said. I looked at the coin. Dad, that's your unit coin. It's for soldiers, he said. Real soldiers. You kept your head when the brass was panicking. That's good work, Sergeant. I took the coin. It was warm from his hand. Thanks, Dad. Now, he said, opening the truck door. Can we please get some food? I'm starving, and I don't think the general is going to invite me to the mess hall. I smiled. I know a place, but I'm driving. Why? Because I know the traffic patterns, I said. I tracked them on the satellite before I came out. He laughed, a real laugh. Okay, he said. You drive. We got in the truck. I wasn't the little girl anymore. I wasn't the IT support. I was Sergeant Elena Morgan, the one who held the keys. And for the first time, my father knew it too.